Okay, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, any additions or deletions from the agenda?
No, sir.
Consider motion to approve the minutes from the last public business meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Starting off the evening, we have a public hearing for Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, CHCD, and that's the Community Development Block Grant Public Hearing. Mr. Dave Nedved.
Cue the welcome back Cotter.
Here, I'll get my stuff out here.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Yeah, it's me in person, no cutout head. I will double check. We have not received any comments. Okay, I did not receive any comments for this public hearing either. Okay, commissioners, thank you for having this public hearing. The public hearing is for, it's a requirement of a CDBG application. We've had quite a few of these in the past. What the hearing's for is to look at any ideas people have for community development, economic development, and housing needs, and more specifically for coronavirus prevention, preparation, and response. This is basically, there's a lot of CDBG funding that's coming, that's available due to the CARES Act. And some of the examples are senior services, food programs, homeless assistance, rental assistance, rural health centers, services for disabled adults, and other essential services. So we're going to be putting an application forward with HRDC basically being the main recipient of it and most interested in the funding. Notice was given in the Cumberland Times News on Saturday, May 23rd, that the Allegheny County Commissioners would sponsor a public hearing on the following subjects: to obtain views of citizens on community development, economic development, and housing needs, and to offer citizens the opportunity to review an application for funds for the coronavirus prevention, preparation, and response. A draft application is available for public to review starting on Tuesday, May 26th until Monday, June 1st, and it's available during normal business hours. But the best way to get a hold of it, if people would like to look at it, is by emailing me or contacting me, and that's in the background. If you go to the county's website, the background, it's a 5-page document that details the background on this application. And God bless Mr. Rudd. He suggested a long time ago that I just post the background on the website instead of reading it. 5 pages long, so.
He was a very wise man.
He's a very wise man. And at this time, like we've established, no one's had any comments or any questions that they wanted to be had during this public hearing. So unless the commissioners have any concerns or questions.
Just a word of thanks to CDBG, Dave, as always. As a catch-it-all funding agency, there's no aspect of life in Allegheny County that Cindy Stone and her group does not touch. They are a fantastic group to deal with. We couldn't hardly exist without them. So my comment to them is thank you very much, and thank you, Dave, for all your work.
Yes, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Cindy is a godsend for this county.
Absolutely.
All right. This is a public hearing. Are there any other public comments?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Dave.
Very
It's good to
much.
see you again.
All right. Moving on to our, before we start our action agenda, Administrator Butler, please come on up for a second. We have a small gift for you here.
cardboard. Oh, that's fantastic.
I like it.
And I know the author of the article as well.
Autograph it.
Here, let's get one together.
All right.
It was either that or that,
Look at the Nedved head, yeah. Thank you, Commissioners.
Sir, thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah.
that, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As he.
All right, gentlemen, into our action agenda. First thing regards the budget, and it's setting the levy. Item number 2, we'll start with our budget message as we kick this off, and it reads as follows. Fiscal 21 budget recognizes that local and national realities that we're facing due to the downturn in our economy. We want to position local government to rebound past this global pandemic. Last year, our community was met with the shock of the announced closure of the Luke Paper Mill. This 131-year institution provided generations of county residents with a source of good wages. It was also part of the fabric of many communities along Georges Creek. This loss to our community is still being felt, and due to the continued fiscal restraint showed by the Board of Commissioners in previous budgets, our fiscal 2021 budget includes no tax increases despite these losses. Our outside partner agencies have continued to creatively fund their priorities and operations, even as funding from the county continues to remain mostly flat. We wanted to thank Allegheny College of Maryland, Allegheny Public Schools, the Health Department, and Allegheny County Library System for their continued partnership. Allegheny County Public Schools will be receiving about $400,000 more than they received last year in funding. While continuing to restrain the growth of government, Allegheny County has been successful in exploring and obtaining new opportunities. Working with our state and federal partners, we were very successful in obtaining state capital budget funding for vitally important economic development projects and federal and state grants for both capital and operational costs, demonstrating the county's continued willingness to move forward towards economic stability and growth. The fiscal 2021 budget continues to fund emergency management at historic levels, continues to invest in education, and further invests in infrastructure. As we move forward out of the economic havoc caused by COVID-19, the strong partnerships forged by the county and our local agencies, as well as state and federal partners, will be all the more important. The full budget is available on the website, and you can see the whole document there. Okay, so the next couple items all relate to the budget itself. Item number 3 is the resolution adopting the fiscal budget, and we have Mr. Jason Bennett, Finance Director.
Good evening, Commissioners. So if you don't mind, bear with me for a few minutes as we work through some of the necessary steps to get our budget adopted. These are the actual actions you guys take to set the levy and some other actions here. So a lot of what was just covered in the budget message, here's just a super quick highlight, and then we'll get into the motions. This year, a total budget of $141,815,560. Of that, the general fund is $94,548,469, up 3% from last year. Represents a gain of $29,000 in real estate taxes and just over $1 million in income tax. As you mentioned, Board of Ed is at maintenance of effort, which is an increase of $404,000. Allegheny College, the Health Department, the library, and all of our other agencies are flat funded, and most of them requested flat funding. As you also mentioned, no rate changes, so no tax increases in this budget. Our property tax rate stays the same. Income tax is the same. We use $760,000 of fund balance. That's just under $100,000 less than last year, and as we know, we're probably going to need it going forward. Highway user revenue was just slightly up this year. We're just over $1 million now from our high years ago of $4.5 million a year. We had a 2% COLA included in our budget. Debt service is almost dead on at our goal of $3 million a year. Just to walk you through some of the steps we took in budget, we asked for budgets from operating departments and outside agencies March 9th, had public budget hearings on March 12th, had to unfortunately cancel the 26th hearing due to COVID, had the constant yield hearing March 26th, a budget workshop on April 16th, preliminary budget April 30th, CIP was May 7th. So tonight then will be the culmination of that, adopting our budget, and unfortunately it's with a big asterisk. We know we're going to have to make changes to this budget. With everything that's happened from COVID, it's a certainty. It's just a matter of when we make those changes and how big they are. So we'll certainly be revisiting that in the next couple weeks to couple months. So with that, here's all the steps we need to take tonight. First step would be to enact Resolution 20-5, which will adopt the fiscal year 21 operating and capital budget in the amount of $141,815,560.
Great. Jason, thank you for your work and your staff's work on this. You know, with COVID coming in right in the middle of this whole thing, it certainly has impacted it a little bit. I know our best estimates are we're losing about $200,000 a week in tax revenue from COVID when you factor in loss of income tax, hotel motel tax, and of course the Rocky Gap funding. But I just want to thank everyone here involved for what we've been able to do. You know, there's local and state governments across the country that are raising taxes during the middle of this pandemic. There's a lot of places that are laying off employees in the middle of this pandemic. We've been very fortunate that we haven't had to do either. You know, everyone that was employed by Allegheny County at the start of this is still employed. If you've been working through this, you're likely getting hazard pay of $3.13 an hour. And, you know, I think we mutually made the decision that we didn't want to add anything to the unemployment rolls. And so I really appreciate your all's support on that and moving forward.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So item number 3 is the resolution to adopt the fiscal 21 operating and capital budget. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item number 4 is to adopt the tax levy and differential. Want to speak on that?
And really not a whole lot else to say. What's in the tax levy and differential is just what we talked about, a flat property tax rate of 0.9750 and unchanged personal property tax rate. So your adoption of the tax levy just authorizes us to issue tax bills July 1. So that's it on that
Absolutely.
one.
And if there's going to be cuts to be made, it's going to come from us and not come from asking residents for more money. So I'll make that a motion that we adopt the tax levy and differential.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item 5 is a motion to adopt the supplemental levy for the special taxing areas. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 6 is for the capital improvement plan, fiscal 21 through 25. Mr. DeWitt?
Evening. Just to recap a little bit what Jason said, 3 weeks ago, we had a presentation here for the priorities for the upcoming projects, for the large fiscal expenditures planned for the next 5 years, beginning fiscal 21 through fiscal 25. We are, at this point, looking for an adoption of that capital improvement plan, with the caveat, as Jason mentioned, that some of those priorities will obviously perhaps need to change as the COVID picture becomes clearer. At this point, I've received no comments or concerns, questions since our presentation from May 7th, and requesting adoption of that document at this time, and can obviously make changes going forward as we need to, pending any response from the county as a result of COVID.
Great. Dan, thanks for your work on that. Gentlemen, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. And
Thanks, Dan.
And item number 7 is a motion to authorize Director of Finance to perform the necessary levy documents. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item number 8 is the Allegheny County Sanitary Commission recommendations. We have Deputy Director of Public Works, Mr. Adam Patterson.
Commissioners, on May 7th, proposed utility rates for fiscal year '21 were presented. No increases were proposed for the residential side, a nominal increase of 5% in the commercial sewer for all districts except Mexico Farm was also proposed. Since that time, I've had no questions, no follow-up. Anything from you gentlemen this evening?
No, sir, good. We want to keep everything as tight as we can right now through this time. So
Yes, sir.
with that being said, I'll make a motion that we adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Okay, so that completes our budget votes, and the fiscal '21 budget is officially adopted. Okay, gentlemen, item number 9 is something that we just added to the agenda, I guess, last week, and that is for the appointment of Finance Director Jason Bennett to be interim county administrator. I'll just say that I don't think Jason's going to need any time to take on the role, and he's someone who will certainly be able to help us continue through COVID-19 and all the other challenges the county faces. You know, Brandon, thank you for your service, and we appreciate what you were able to do here over the last 2 years. And, you know, I look for Jason to keep building on that success. So, gentlemen, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Congratulations. All right. Gentlemen, item number 10 is approval of the contract for county attorney. This would make Mr. Lee Beeman county attorney. He served as deputy county attorney since 2018. Lee, I think you certainly have big shoes to fill. Bill Rudd, you know, our friend, was certainly an institution here, and I think 37 years as county attorney, so you might not be such a young man after that. And you've done a very good job, and I know you learned a lot from him so far. So, gentlemen, is there a motion to make Mr. Lee Beeman county attorney of Allegheny County?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next, item 11 is cancellation of the 2020 Allegheny County Fair and Ag Expo. Mr. Jason Bennett, interim administrator.
Thank you. And I hate that the first thing we kind of touch upon is something kind of sad, but it's unfortunately necessary this year. Before I get into that, I just want to thank you guys real quick for having faith in me, taking on the duties for now. And I also want to take a minute to thank Brandon for his service and time and friendship over the last couple of years. I feel like we got a great team in finance and tax, and they're going to help me sort of carry this load. And there's a really great management team around here. Paul Kale, Jeff Barclay, Jimmy Piles, Lee Beeman, Christy Liller, Brett Reinhardt, Linda, who's always there, and we work daily with the sheriff. So there's a great group here who's going to help me a bundle as
And
we
3
help you guys through
fantastic
these times.
commissioners.
And some fantastic commissioners. So,
Thank you.
so we'll keep things going. So, unfortunately, back to the fair, as we know, with the COVID crisis, having the fair this year has become impossible to us. And let me walk through just a couple of things that have sort of hit us that have caused that decision. As you guys know, back on May 14th, we received notice from the University of Maryland Extension Office that they were suspending all 4-H activities through August 1st. Obviously, our fair was scheduled for July, so that had cut them out of the fair. They are making a decision by June 15th about August and the rest of the year, so even potentially having events later may be difficult for them. As we know too, our carnival operator, Reithofer Shows, is still in Florida today, not really able to move and not able to have much of their staff with them. So we were unsure if they'd even be able to come here as it is. Just yesterday, the governor began the process of getting us out of phase 1, but that still leaves us nowhere close to being able to have mass gatherings. Today, we're looking for you to essentially take action to cancel the fair for a couple reasons. One of which being that'll allow us to exit the contracts we have for our concerts. So as you know, we had for King and Country, Josh Turner and Livewire, which is an AC/DC tribute band, scheduled. There's a little bit of good news in all this bad news. They all have verbally agreed to come back next year.
Fantastic.
So it's not guaranteed and in stone, but they've made that pledge to us. So we feel like we've got some good acts, at least coming back for 2021. So for those that have already paid for those tickets, the fair office will be working over the coming weeks to work on refunds or potentially even applying to next year if they so choose. Unfortunately, we had to do it now rather than wait a little bit longer. Come next week, we had to start spending money on advertising, all kinds of brochures and materials for the fair. So this was sort of our make or break time, and it's time to do it before we spend money that we potentially can't get back. So with that, I'll leave it to your comment and for you to take action if you so choose.
Dave, you want to speak?
I think I really wanted to stress, because I know there was some talk on the radio, and I'm not sure in the newspaper regarding this, you know, I think that the decisions that led up to this were already made prior to tonight regarding the concerts, the rides, 4-H canceling. So I just really wanted to stress, because I think people were interpreting it that we are all out canceling the fair because of the virus. Well, ultimately, I don't think that was our decision. I think the things that were up against us up to this point can't allow us to go on at this time. But I also wanted to state, too, that I think all of us have really encouraged staff that any event, anything that we can accommodate and that we can proceed on doing, we have advised to do so. So, I mean, this is obviously an exception to that, but going forward, you know, we want to start to get things moving as quickly and safely as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll follow up just because I echo Dave's sentiments. No one enjoys the fair more than the three of us does. We spend, I'm right there, and all three of us right there for just pretty near a week straight. The decision was made out beyond our control. And not that I'm one much for following Facebook, I don't, but when I get screenshots of stuff where people's threatening us over the fair, it's impossible to work this and make this happen under state mandates. Impossible. It is impossible. And when I see comments like that the commissioners need to man up and do what? Remove the governor of the state of Maryland, and then you see threats against the three of us that bad stuff's going to happen to us over something that we don't control. The only thing we're doing tonight is formalizing this. If we could have the fair, by all means, it would happen. But there's a starting point and an ending point for everything. And right now, it's up to, we don't know when phase 2 is even going to start, let alone happen. And as far as last I read, no large events can happen until phase 3. So, and to say that we're only 6 weeks out from the fair that's going to happen, I'd almost assure everyone it's not. But that's not the commissioner's decision. That's solely the governor's decision. This lockdown of the state is not coming through Allegheny County. I'm really actually appalled by some of the remarks I see that it's like the three of us has locked Allegheny County down. Absolutely not. Anytime that we've got the chance to open or been given the authority to open, such as Dave said, we have opened and allowed everything that we can. So people, if you're going to make remarks, please look in to find out the truth. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do you have it?
I got it.
All
yeah.
right, go ahead.
Yep. So 10 items on your consent agenda tonight, Commissioners. Item 12 is motion for the Potomac Highlands Airport Authority to reappoint Dave Weimer to another term that will expire in 2023.
Thank you.
Item 13 is a 2020 to 2023 Memorandum of Understanding for Section 8 Housing and Rehabilitation. Item 14 is an American Fidelity Assurance Company benefit proposal to allow them to do our open enrollment here for county health insurance. Item 15 is a 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant acceptance in the amount of $82,912. Item 16 is a 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant for COVID-19 Supplemental Program Assistance in the amount of $47,000. Item 17 is new dump trucks for the Department of Public Works and Roads Division in the amount of $392,000. This will award the bid, and these funds were previously budgeted Item 18 is for a new pickup truck for Public Works Maintenance Department in the amount of $34,900. Item 19 is for an engineering services for variable volume and temperature system replacement at the Brook Building in the amount of $8,300. That's covered in our latest bond issue. Item 20 is for bridges A15, A16, and A18 replacement projects, Laurel Run Road contract. It's a bid award, and that's covered in our 2017 bond. And item 21 is a request for tax abatement for a property Archway Station is acquiring, and that's in the amount of $3,200.
Great, thank you. Gentlemen, any discussion on the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Nothing to add.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, Administrator Bennett, anything else?
Nothing further, Commissioners.
Attorney Beeman, please.
Gentlemen, I just wanted to thank you for your confidence and faith moving forward, and hope that we can get some stuff done this year.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. All right, Commissioner Caparelli.
Just looking forward to moving into the next phase as of yesterday's announcement. I know that a lot of outside dining, they're raring to go and everything, and we'll look forward to the next phase after that also. So hopefully things will continue to move forward.
Absolutely. Mr. Brody.
Sir, I just hope everyone had a fantastic Memorial Day. It was good to see some people out and traveling. It's good that we have Captain Dan Lasher of the Detention Center with us here this evening. He dressed up dapper as always. Congratulations to the official new county attorney, our new administrator, but I wasn't here at the last meeting to get to say anything to Brandon because I had to have my wife was having a medical issue. Sir, 2 years ago, we tasked you with changing the direction of Allegheny County and stepping up and doing a hard job. You come through with flying colors. So Brandon, as you move forward, I know that you will do fantastic. It's your next endeavor. I can't wait till you actually get it started. I'm not going to spill the beans on him to anyone, but his future is bright. You will go down as one of the great administrators of Allegheny County, so thank you, sir, for everything you've done. It's hard to work for three people that pull in different directions, and you did very well, because anyone that knows me knows I'm not a patient person. When I call and want something, I want it. I don't want excuses. I don't want to hear can't, won't, this and that. I want it done, and you did fantastic at that, so thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. All right, gentlemen, with that, we'll conclude the meeting. We're having a lot of success with our Allegheny COVID grant fund. By next week, all of the money from people who've already applied will be out the door. That will be a little over $800,000. So, you hear about the federal government and the state government having issues trying to help people out. We're trying to get funds out the door as quick as we can. There's still funding available. We made the application as simple as you can for small businesses. You apply online, and hopefully we'll have some sort of rolling application period. So the first batch of checks went out last month, and then more went out this week, and then the final whole round for now will go out next week. And in total, that'll be about $800,000 that are going right back in the community, all being funded through the CARES Act. So local government had all sorts of ways that they could spend money, and we chose to put a big portion of it towards helping small businesses. So thank you all for your support on that, because that makes me proud that we're able to help out a little bit in these tough times. So with that, please everyone be safe. Youth sports are allowed to open Friday at 5, as well as pools at reduced capacity. And 2 weeks ago, we was on a call with the governor, and it was discussed about outdoor dining. It wasn't in phase 1. He ended up putting that in phase 1. So thanks to the governor, thanks for the comptroller. I know he made that one of his signature issues. And everyone's kind of in this together. So be safe, continue to do what we need to do, and also we need to get everything back open. So with that, gentlemen, our next meeting will be Thursday, June 11th at 5 p.m. here at this room. And if you haven't returned your ballot for the June primary, please make sure you do that. We have a ballot box out front, or you can mail it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.